right, and we're back with episode 9 of ICOPOD. I'm Bob Backlund Jr., and with me, as always, is Austin Skinner.
Who better than Austin?
I mean, that's good. I appreciate that.
Fits the time period,
Yeah,
right?
it does. I mean, he's kind of a jobber sometimes, so it works out. Thank you for joining us now with episode 9 as mentioned. Our journey to WrestleMania 9 continues.
Yeah.
We are, I would say, 3 episodes away now.
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting some continued good feedback. People continuing to tell us about their memories and things like that on the Facebook page at ICOPOD. And then there's also a second option of ICOPodcast@gmail.com if you want to send them along there as well. We tape these far in advance, so I think I'll be posting on the Facebook page for people to send their thoughts for WrestleMania 9 and stuff like that. So by the time this is even out there, we probably would have recorded WrestleMania 9 at this point. So
Thanks away. You're giving our secrets away.
it's okay. They already know. They know that we tape far in advance, so it doesn't really matter.
Whatever.
How's your viewing been going?
So for this round, these episodes here that we watched, it was a little bit of a chore, but I'm sure we'll get into that. I still have hopes that by the time we hit WrestleMania, I will be pleasantly surprised and that it delivers more than I'm thinking it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, as maybe first-time listeners or people forget, we watch 2 episodes of Raw, and then in one day we do 2 podcasts essentially in one day. And I'm worried with these next 2 episodes. So this one, and then I guess next week's is going to be probably pretty negative, I would say.
Which is just another reason to watch, because as we rip it apart, I'm sure it'll ensue some hijinks in some such fashion. So don't not tune into those.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're completists, I feel like. So
Yeah.
if we really had wanted to, we probably could have been like, fuck it, we'll just skip this week. But
Right.
that's just how we are. So before we get into the March 15th edition of Raw, I figured let's go through the notes here as per usual, unless you have anything.
Oh, no, I'm ready for you.
All right, so Dino Bravo, he was not part of Raw, the Raw era, I guess, but he was murdered on March 10th. He was shot in his house or apartment, and it's believed that he knew the attackers. He had gotten involved in some mafia, tobacco trading or smuggling, and trafficking tobacco in Montreal, I guess, before his death.
I think it was Rob Bartlett.
Really?
Well, he's murdering my ears every week, so he probably murdered Dino Bravo.
That's fair. Maybe Bravo wasn't even shot. He was just watching Raw.
And just the impact of horrible audio waves just pierced his chest.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of Bravo? What have you seen at this point?
If anything, maybe a couple matches, and that's too much. Not a Dino Bravo fan in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, he's one of my least favorite ever.
Yeah, oh yeah, not a fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that he was murdered. But
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. The WWF has officially added a pay-per-view for June 13th. It will be in Dayton, Ohio, and is being called the King of the Ring.
Ooh, yeah.
So it looks like we'll be getting a tournament.
Historically, Bob, do you like the King of the Ring pay-per-view?
I do.
So do I.
I do. I like the whole concept of it.
I like that it's kind of its own standalone thing, usually.
Yeah, and I think at this point, they've only had 4 pay-per-views a year.
Right.
So
Right.
adding a buffer there in June isn't bad. Compared to having, 14 in a year.
Yeah, one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Jim Ross, who was the lead commentator for WCW, was at the March 9th tapings for the WWF and is being rumored as to potentially joining the company starting at WrestleMania 9.
I'm split on this because believe it or not, I feel like the mixtures of when you have Savage, Vince, Lawler. I feel like adding another guy in there, especially when you have, idiots like Bartlett. Every once in a while, you'll get Gorilla, Bobby. They have so many people at the table at this time. I feel like there's a lot of commentators, a lot of different mixtures. I just don't feel like they must have, either Jim Ross seek to get into the company or they sought him out.
Well, I mean, I remember at this time, like, Bill Watts was getting fired.
Right.
And Jim Ross was one of the guys to be part of that, I guess, turnover.
Yeah.
And I would have to think they went after Jim Ross. Because I'm pretty sure at this time Ross was doing NFL games, like Atlanta Falcons and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think he necessarily needed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really see where... I mean, I guess, it's Jim Ross. He's already, by this time, has a credible field of work. Although I just feel like maybe they don't need him right now.
I mean, his style, though, WCW is very...
Southern.
Call the action.
Yeah.
And in WWF, it's more like, we're going to get the angles over.
Exactly.
So, it should be... I mean, it's interesting. I think Jim Ross is a great announcer. Commentator.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't argue that. I just feel like at the time period, I'm surprised they're putting the money into... another commentator.
Yeah, I mean, you could just take Vince off.
I like Vince.
What a maneuver.
Yeah, he's over the top.
I hate it. This annoys me. What a maneuver. Oh, this is it. 1, 2, no. Kick out.
1, 2, and no.
Yeah, this is it. He's got it. He's got it. Moving on. Luna Vachon is rumored to start with the WWF soon, and she'll be the manager for Shawn Michaels. That's an odd pairing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I feel like a guy like Shawn Michaels would want more of a eye candy.
Yeah.
It's a weird combination.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Smoking Guns will be beginning with the WWF shortly after WrestleMania 9 as well.
Okay.
So they must have recently had a tryout and impressed. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the Guns in action here. And I remember in my early years, they were, I guess you could say, the go-to team.
Yeah, a nice little mixture up of teams because right now it's kind of like one extreme to the other. So you have, the younger, high-energy team. You have the Steiners are a younger team. So it's nice that there's still an influx of young talent coming in. They're not stopping there. They're still letting people come in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the tag team division definitely needs more depth.
I agree. I mean, there is quite a few decent teams.
Well, you got Steiners, Money Inc.
Yeah.
Headshrinkers.
High energy.
I wouldn't consider High Energy like a top level team or anything.
Well, they're in the division.
They're just a depth.
Yeah, they're in
the job squad there.
They're in the division.
Beverly Brothers too.
Yeah.
Who else? Is anybody else really missing on that? It's like literally a handful.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like in some of those teams, I mean, Money Inc. especially, you can't even really count Hogan Beefcake.
Right.
But
Nasty Boys.
Yeah, Nasty Boys. They definitely needed some more young guys to come in to mix it up.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. So I got 2 house shows here, as I've been doing the last couple episodes now.
Okay.
And we'll kind of see which one would be more intriguing, if any of them, really. So there's 2 house shows that took place on March 12th. There was one in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then Nova Scotia. So the first one was in Erie, PA, at the Civic Center. And it featured Repo Man taking on Jim Powers, Damian Demento taking on Bob Backlund, Tito Santana against Skinner, Kamala against Kimchi, the Steiner Brothers against Beverly Brothers, Bob Backlund against Damian Demento again, apparently. It's written down twice for some reason. And then world champion Bret Hart defending against Bam Bam Bigelow.
Probably would have been skipping those matches.
It seems very similar to like last week's episode, or the last time we did one of these.
I mean, there's really not much as far as even name power on that card. I mean, you got Bob Backlund, Tito Santana, the Steiners, Bret Hart. I mean, that's a pretty bare bones card there, I think.
And I still feel like as if it's considered the A team because the world champion's on it.
You almost have to, but still, it's like, if that's the A team, I can't wait to see how Halifax turned out.
Well, here we go, because we have Typhoon against Terry Taylor, Rick Martel took on Virgil, One half of the WWF Tag Team Champions IRS battled Brian Knobbs. In a WrestleMania 9 preview, Crush took on Doink the Clown.
Wow.
Tatanka battled Papa Shango. The Headshrinkers took on the tag team of Jim Brunzell and Coco Beware. And in the main event, Yokozuna squared off against The Undertaker.
I'll tell you what. If that's the B show, consider me a B show guy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised they're doing Crush Doink on house shows.
Yeah. Even Yoko Taker, that's a huge match.
That's been drawing really well, too.
I bet.
Because this has been going on for almost, I would say, a month. I remember...
Yeah, we talked about it, I think, before.
Yeah, in Long Island, they were doing like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Which is great numbers for them at the time.
Right.
It's interesting to know that Jim Brunzell was in there instead of Owen because he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
Against Bigelow.
I'm sure that was nothing to write home about, that match.
Right, yeah. I wouldn't anticipate it to be much of anything. But, I mean, yeah, definitely the Nova Scotia show would be better, but they both seem relatively weak, I would say.
Yeah, especially leading into WrestleMania, you'd think you'd want to pack as many people as you could into some of these house shows because they're going to be some of your last couple before the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm surprised they're not a little bit stronger than that.
Yep, so I think we both agree Nova Scotia.
Yes.
We're traveling to Nova Scotia.
I'm going there.
All right, so we got some syndicated news here from Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. On the March 13th edition of Superstars, Hulk Hogan and Beefcake had a pre-tape interview, and Hogan was, trying to prove that Beefcake's face was made of titanium as he hit Beefcake in the face with his protective gear on. He hit him in the face with the briefcase.
Wait.
To show how powerful it is.
So you're telling me in this pre-tape promo, Hogan is risking re-injuring his partner to prove a point. So he's hitting him with the briefcase with the mask on.
Yeah, a couple times.
That's ridiculous.
He's bionic. Remember? They were trying to, hey man, all right, Beefcake's bionic now.
Well, up to this point, I haven't seen this mask, so I don't even know what it looks like, but I imagine that it looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm kind of hoping it's just a lucha mask, and there's there's just cloth.
There's cloth on it.
I'm hoping that's what it is.
I would have to think having that, it's like a steel mask, I would have to think that's illegal.
Not only that, but it would probably hurt your face even more if you had a piece of steel on it. Like having a match with a piece of steel on your face.
Yeah. Obstruct your vision too.
Yeah.
Seems
probably heavy. Your neck would hurt.
It seems to be more negative.
It's like a handicap match.
Yeah. I'm just trying to picture. Let's say WrestleMania 9, DiBiase and IRS are punching him. They're gonna break their hand.
Well, yeah.
If it's a real fight,
right?
I don't understand how.
It's an illegal. That's a foreign object.
Yeah.
That's like hitting him into the ring steps. So if Hogan throws Ted DiBiase's head into Beefcake's face, he might as well throw him into the ring steps.
Yeah. I mean, Beefcake on the lockup should just headbutt one of the guys and win.
Pin. Yeah, I don't know about that.
We're destroying their whole storytelling here, but
it's pretty silly.
Yeah. Also during the weekend here, after a squash match, Ray Rougeau had an interview with Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji after Yokozuna just destroyed a guy. But Ray kind of reminded Yokozuna that he hasn't fought anybody quite like Bret Hart before, and he hasn't beaten Bret Hart. So that came into a whole matter of respect and all these things.
Yeah.
So that prompted Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji to not really appreciate what Ray said, and Yokozuna promptly destroyed the guy again with a bonsai job. So.
Well, I do have some comments on that, but we did get a replay on Raw, so once that hits, I will comment further on that. But, yeah.
That's right. Also, Giant Gonzalez and Harvey Whippleman had talked on Wrestling Challenge or something of that nature, and they claimed that no matter who got in the ring with them, that they, just didn't want to fight them and would leave the arena. And I believe that's also noted later on here as well. So, But Taker will rest in peace at WrestleMania is basically the gist of it.
Okay.
So it's nice to see that they're actually kind of mentioning the feud.
Well, I feel like they're in emergency mode, and it's like, okay, WrestleMania is 3 weeks away. We better start building some shit here because there's kind of like one piece of heat from the Royal Rumble 2 months ago.
Literally.
So, we should probably do something about that.
And the only feud that has gotten any continued momentum is the tag title match.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything else is
it's
just
almost
there.
like creative took that and like everything else got pushed aside, and it's like, okay, let's focus on this,
Yeah.
and we'll just fill in the blanks as we go, which sucks.
I agree. So that brings us to the March 15th edition here of Raw, and we are live from the Poughkeepsie, New York, the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. Austin, what do you think about us not being at the Manhattan Center?
All right, so I actually have it here noted 8 seconds in, right? 8 seconds in, and I already like the feel better to this show. I was kind of unsure about it at first, not, for it not being in the Manhattan Center. I was like, okay, how's this going to go? But as soon as I saw kind of how pumped the crowd was, and let alone it was being like in a little bit of a bigger arena, so more of the crowd, I was into it. And we're also seemingly getting Gorilla and Bobby on commentary, so that's a plus. With that said, along with not Vince McMahon, great. We have to sit here. Here I am thinking, okay, finally, we'll get Bobby and Gorilla, some classic banter, kind of a break from Bartlett and all the typical Raw BS. And then we get not Vince McMahon on commentary. That's literally what his nameplate says, not Vince McMahon.
And he's gonna, I guess, spoiler here, he's gonna act like Vince McMahon the entire episode.
It's, and we will get into this, but it is, if you don't watch this for one reason, don't watch it because this guy's worse than Bartlett.
That might have people want to see how bad it is.
He's like 2 times as annoying, I would say. Who is this guy? Do we know who it is, Bob?
Who?
The guy who's playing not Vince McMahon.
Rob Bartlett.
What?
You didn't know that was Rob Bartlett?
Hold on. You're telling me that the guy playing not Vince McMahon was Rob Bartlett?
Yeah, that's definitely Rob Bartlett. You didn't know that?
Oh my!
Are you kidding me right now?
God, my mind is blown.
Because he did shave his mustache off.
I didn't even recognize him.
What? Yeah, that's Rob Bartlett.
I had no idea.
Are you shitting me right now?
Dead serious.
You thought it was an entirely different person?
Well, I just figured, it's some Jay Brone who does a Vince McMahon rip off in the back.
No, that's Rob Bartlett.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious that you did not know it was Rob Bartlett.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
No,
Whoa.
I didn't know it was him.
Wow. No, yeah.
Wow.
I thought for sure you knew it was Rob.
No. That's why I was like, this guy's worse than Bartlett. I didn't think it was him. Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was just some guy in the back who did a good Vince McMahon impression. Well, not a good one, but a passable.
Yeah. No, it's Rob.
That's hilarious. I feel like an idiot.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Oh God. All right, so regardless, we get not Vince McMahon here as the third man on commentary. And Gorilla makes mention, he says, the big blizzard of 1993 has thrown a monkey wrench into the WWF's plans. But all the stars are here tonight, and we get shots of outside the building to see some pretty considerable snow build up. I don't know if this actually played a part in them not being in the Manhattan Center or not, like this snowstorm. I don't know if that's...
No, I think that was... They'll book these buildings months in advance. Because I know I had seen in some of the observers that they have like the Mid-Hudson Civic Center booked in June.
Oh, okay.
So
this was already in the books kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, regardless, it is announced that Savage and Vince were at an award show to receive an award on the WWF's behalf. Okay. I don't know if that's a gimmick or not either. But they do make mention of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing where I guess... Because it's all about the whole steroid thing. And how he's trying to get less heat for that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing things like this, and I believe at the end of the episode there's more of a focus on it.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not something where you would think, oh, hey, yeah, no, they're trying to be something nice for the community. It's more like, oh, hey, no, we're not that bad at people.
Well, yeah, it's kind of trying to cover your ass a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but we'll get there at the end. But.
Also, then to top it off, of course, fake Vince does the SNL ripoff line.
Right.
And with that, I'm really just not sure what to expect with this one. Seeing this opening and kind of the fake Vince and the We're not in the Manhattan Center. There's no Randy Savage. It's kind of like, to me, this feels kind of like a throw together show to make a Raw. Like, okay, we can't do a Raw, so let's throw something together here, film it, and call it Raw.
I think that's fair.
You know,
it just seems like a rushed.
Very, and it's like a Cobb job. Okay, so let's have Bartlett do fake Vince, and let's show the snow outside because that'll play a part in it, and like all this stuff. It's kind of like, well,
I wonder how much of a focus was really on the show, considering Vince and Savage aren't there.
Right. So I'm sure.
How much value are they putting into it?
Right. I'm sure that played a part into it.
Yeah, I would have to think so. So after we get like the opening, I wanted to point out, I think it's cool that Gorilla is there. Like you mentioned.
I
think that's cool.
Getting Gorilla at this time is always such a nice treat because watching the weekly Raws, you will miss him. I miss him.
I miss the interactions between him and Bobby.
Well, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, don't get me wrong. Savage and Vince have great banter usually back and forth. Not as much. But, nothing beats Bobby and Gorilla.
Yeah, I don't think it comes close for me personally.
No, I agree. I agree.
So after the Raw opening and stuff like that, we get our first match of the night. And it features Razor Ramon taking on Russ Greenberg. And during Ramon's entrance, it is a noticeable, huge face reaction for Ramon, which is quite surprising to me because he hasn't really done anything to warrant that.
Yeah. And you know what else I noticed too when he was coming out is not only are, the ring lights much more professional looking, like they have a nice rig above the ring for the lights. The entrance stage is great and like so much better than the little curtain at the Manhattan Center.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this isn't even an actual Raw location taping, and the production is better here. The crowd is far away from the wrestlers, so they're not right on top of each other looking like Bush League.
Yeah.
The entrance stage is nice. They have a great rigging for the lighting. The crowd's larger than the Manhattan Center.
Easily double, I think.
Yeah, so it's like just the production point for this episode was kind of helping me get carried through. Like, okay, like at least it looks better. Like it looks more full and professional than the Manhattan Center does. So I don't know. I did notice that as soon as Razor came out and we got to kind of see everything together for the first time on this episode, I was into it. I liked it.
I mean, I wonder what is making the fans. I mean, again, it's a New York fans.
Yeah.
We haven't gone out of New York yet. That is making them want to cheer for Ramon. Does he have that demeanor of, oh, this guy's a cool guy? He hasn't done anything babyface.
And not only that, the last thing we saw of him was like BS winning a Battle Royal.
Right.
And then losing to Bret Hart at Royal Rumble. So if anything, he's got the lowest momentum possible. Maybe just because...
It's got to be the look.
It's got to be the look. Yeah, it's got to be the look because... And we'll get into it. But even some of the stuff he says, it's like... It's funny in a good way. Like, because he's able to make fun of people really well.
Right.
So maybe that plays a part in it. I don't know.
I noticed pretty early on that Bartlett and his humor is already detracting from the action, or trying to overshadow what's going on.
Oh my god! I haven't noted too. Here, it's like second line in. Fake Vince is already annoying on commentary. But before the bell rang, Ramon gave a cool warning to the gear collector on the outside, and as he's taking his gold chains, he goes, "You watch the gold, Chico. Something happened to this. Something gonna happen to you, man." Perfect.
It's a good Ramon.
So good.
It's a good. That's a good impression.
Oh, my impression? No, that was terrible.
Oh, okay. I liked it. No, but he does that pretty often.
Oh, so good.
But it's good to have that character part of it.
And we've talked about this before. For me, it's the subtle things that make such a huge difference, whether it be in a character, in a promo, in the ring, production-wise. The subtle things for me really sell stuff. Just like this little thing here with Razor Ramon before the match. Like, that helps me sell on a character. So, I was into it.
I think it's an example of showing that Ramon's 100% into it. Partially because I think it was part of his pitch to Vince. That's not something that was pitched to him to work.
Right.
So.
And I think the story goes that Vince didn't know who Scarface was.
Yeah, I don't think he had seen it.
Right. So like Ramon's basically pitching Tony Montana, Scarface, to Vince, and Vince is like in love with it because he hasn't heard of the character before.
Yeah.
So yes, I think you're right there.
So Ramon easily controls Greenberg, as you would, I guess, expect. And it's mentioned during the match here that Ramon will be fighting Bob Backlund at WrestleMania. I believe this is the first time it's officially mentioned on television. Ramon, late in the match, hits a middle rope back suplex, which gets good reaction from the crowd. And shortly afterwards, Ramon wins the match with the Razor's Edge.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice how darkly tanned Razor was?
I did.
Like, he's real dark.
Well, he has a proper tan compared to the sunburn that Crush had at the beach.
Well, Crush looked red. Razor looks brown.
Crush was... I like how we're just going back to it, but Crush is... It looked like as if his mom was trying to get him to tan. He's like, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not wearing the lotion. It looks silly.
Yeah. And then tomorrow, he's like, oh, fuck, I should have worn that goddamn tan.
Just laying in bed, trying not to move.
Yeah.
Mind you, this guy's supposed to be from Hawaii. And he's got a horrible sunburn.
Yeah.
So how often is he on the Hawaiian beaches with a sunburn like that?
I wonder if any wrestlers ribbed him.
Like
on the house shows, if he has a sunburn like that, like Mr. Perfect, well, their faces here, but if he was a heel, just slap him on the back.
Good match, buddy. Good match.
Why are you chopping me?
Oh, man. But yeah, not too much for this match. Razor gets a solid last call in, which is a nice call to his moveset moving forward. Always gets the abdominal stretch in there. That's one of his go-to submissions, it seems like.
Yeah, it's go-to wrestle.
But yeah, the declaration where Razor is going to be taking on Bob Backlund at WrestleMania. First of all, I was like, ugh. Like, I don't want to see that. And I also am like, why? Like, is that just to get them on the card, I would assume? To fill in a spot?
Well, I mean, like we mentioned that before. Who is this? I would have to think it's a way to get Ramon on the show.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
If Bob Backlund beats Razor Ramon... Ramon's dead in the water.
Oh my God! Yeah,
There's no way.
Right, you want to talk about no momentum?
Yeah.
How about that?
That'd be a great way to do it.
I hope that isn't the case, but yeah, you know what? And Razor spends a lot of time here playing to the crowd, which again is weird because he's getting mostly a good positive reaction, which is like it's Razor Ramon. You're not. He's like a bad. He's like a bad guy. He's the bad guy.
He's a villain, yeah.
Yeah, so that was weird. Although, also during this, Gorilla makes a comment and goes, let's face it, Russ Greenberg is no Bob Backlund. To which Bobby jokes, yeah, he's a lot younger.
I remember that line. Yeah.
Oh, man. They keep poking fun at that age. I mean, how can you not, though?
He's, 43, they said?
Yeah.
At the time?
And in 93, that ain't happening
That's
too
insane.
often. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny that without even Backlund on the show, they're still kind of, in this match, still hitting his age.
You know, so it's interesting, though. So Backlund's 43.
Right.
How old's Hogan?
Got to be at least that.
He's got to be in his 40s at this point, I'd have to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, why are we making note of Backlund's age, and then Hogan's like, he's back for Money
In
Incorporated.
the co-main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
no,
just
that's
weird.
a good point.
That's a weird thing.
That's a good
to
point.
look at it like that. But
yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I would say that Ramon's going to need a few more wins like this to kind of reestablish himself, which is weird because it's taken almost 2 months now to kind of maybe reestablish him after the Rumble.
Yeah, they've waited long enough.
And considering, aside from really Brett and Perfect, and I guess Taker, so your top three there. I'm not going to include Hogan and Beefcake yet.
Right.
But so the singles role here on the face side seems to be pretty weak.
Yeah, yeah.
And with Ramon's reaction here, it has to be considered a favorite here to maybe transition to the face side.
You would think from this reaction, and it's weird because, like we talked about, up until this point, either we didn't see him or he was getting booed. Like he just not too long ago talked about slapping a 75-year-old man in the front row.
New Yorkers love that.
I mean, if that's your idea of a nice guy, I guess so.
Oh, yeah, well, it's New York. I did point out though in the crowd, like the camera after his match, they were focused on the kids giving him the thumbs down, but behind them you could see, probably 20-something-year-old guys going like, yeah, we like Razor.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
So you can see where they're trying to still position him as a heel.
Right.
Following that match, we have our second match of the night. It is Typhoon, one half of the Natural Disasters, although Earthquake is gone. He'll be taking on L.A. Gore.
Okay, so first of all, I love Typhoon's, the Natural Disasters theme song.
Yeah, it's just
I'm a
like
big
a
fan.
foot stomping and making it sound like... Yeah.
I'm a big fan. With that, is L.A. Gore a play on Al Gore?
I don't think so.
Or am I reading way too deep?
I think you're reading way too much into that.
'Cause,
He looks like a porn star to me.
Well, he looked like Magnum TA with a gut.
That's a better
That's who he
description.
looked like.
That's a better description, yes.
Shorter with a gut. And it was basically, there you go. That's who L.A. Gore is.
I don't think there'd be it. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I mean, I could be wrong.
That might be just too early. Maybe in 93 they wouldn't be doing a play on that. But I don't know. It's awfully funny that... I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it.
Yeah, you might be. I thought it was interesting to see the crowd was so excited for Ramon, and there's a noticeable drop of care for Typhoon. During the match, they seem to be kind of receptive to some of his offense, like a snap suplex and a snap power slam.
Well, yeah, he gets a warm reaction, a lukewarm reaction.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's nothing compared to even just what Ramon himself got last match. Nothing compared. Yeah, absolutely.
So as I noted, he's hit a snap suplex and snap power slam, which kind of surprised me. It didn't seem as if it was a natural move for him.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. I did not care about this match, to be honest with you.
And it didn't help that during this one, fake Vince was especially annoying. Like, he kept just, so over the top. Like, the stomach area, the neck area, the head area. He's throwing him into the turnbuckle area. Like, he keeps... Like, he's doing a really, really bad Vince.
Yeah, but some of it's kind of true that Vince does stuff like that.
Oh, well, yes.
It's just not like that over the top.
But exactly.
But
yeah.
I get the point here.
It's like pulling the curtain back on a dirty room. Like, you try to hide the fact that Vince isn't great on commentary, but this right here is making it look like he's horrible by overplaying it.
Maybe they think when Vince comes back, we'll be like, oh, he's great.
Yeah, Vince, don't watch that last episode of Raw. You didn't really miss anything.
Yeah.
We didn't make fun of you at all.
It'd be funny if Vince never did watch it.
Right?
Oh, I just missed it. Didn't think anything big about it.
God.
Pretty standard squash match here. Typhoon ends up winning with a big splash. Crowd seemed happy with it. I don't really want to see Typhoon in a singles role at this point.
Typhoon's head is really small.
It's not well proportioned with the rest of
his
body.
Compared to the rest of his body, Typhoon's got a little tiny head.
That's what you get out of it from Typhoon?
That was my only... So he body splashes the guy, stands up, celebrates, and it's like, okay, I'm looking at this guy with his arms up, and his little head is on a huge body. That's what I got out of it.
I mean, I can't say you're wrong because
think about it.
He does have a small
Think
head.
about it.
I am. I'm trying to picture him, and you're right. He's got enormous arms.
Oh yeah.
And his upper body.
The whole upper body is huge.
And then you look at his head; it's like a pea.
Yeah, it's so small
compared to Earthquake, who's got a normal sized head for his body.
Well, yeah, it's proportionate.
Right.
I mean, Earthquake, it's got kind of short, stubby legs.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't know. This is the first time I've noticed Typhoon's got a small head. That ruined it for me. I was like, you know what? I mean, I was trying to give him a chance. One half of the Natural Disasters. Tiny head.
That's funny. That's your tipping point. You're like, fuck it. No. You got too small head.
I tried, dude. I'm done. I'm done with that. Please stop booking him. I don't care about whoever the fuck he wrestled. What was the guy's name?
L.A. Gore.
Yeah, fucking don't hire him back.
I could just see Vince being like, I'm going to put the belt on Typhoon. Bring him in here. Walks in. Small head. You're fired.
His head is tiny. Don't book him.
Job him out. He's out of here. All right, so after that we go to Bobby Heenan, and he's in the ring, but he's acting as if he's confused. Are we on the air? Hello? Do you even know? I don't know. Tell me. What's going on? Are we on the air? Can I go? stuff like that. And it turns out we're not supposed to be there. We go to an ICOPRO ad.
Yeah, like fades into promotional consideration. Yeah. I liked when Bobby does this because, the first time he does it, because he did it, I think, a couple episodes back, to where he pretends like he doesn't know.
Oh, yeah, it was when he was like hitting on the ring girl.
Yeah. So I like the first time he does it. And then if he ends up doing it again in the show, it kind of ruins it. It's like, don't do it again.
Well, that's foreshadowing because he does. So after the ICOPRO thing, we have another figures ad. Once again, British Bulldog.
Those got to be packaged together. Like, it's 100%. The same tape, like ICOPRO 100%. And then, yeah.
And it's almost in the same part of the show every single week.
I know.
They don't mix it up at all.
Right.
So after those ads, we go back to the ring where Bobby Heenan knows that he's on the air. And this week, he's going to be talking to the Giant Gonzalez and Harvey Whippleman. Whippleman says he has a surprise for the WWF, or that he surprised the WWF that he was actually telling the truth about having somebody to make an impact in the WWF. But he hasn't had the chance to prove how awesome Gonzalez is because all the opponents run away, similar to what he said on the syndicated shows.
Which I'm thinking here, fair enough. Like, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, Gonzalez...
He hasn't proved anything.
He's hit, like, one guy. So,
and like,
aside from the Taker destroy.
Yeah, like, he chopped a Taker out of the ring at Royal Rumble. Like, okay.
Yeah, he hasn't had an actual singles match.
Right.
Which I think is the right thing to do. You don't want to really showcase what he can do, especially if he sucks.
Well, and, I mean, take a look at how well the WWF at this time is doing squash matches. Yokozuna has really, really benefited from him. So they would obviously work for Giant Gonzalez. So I'm just not sure why they haven't gone that route yet, when it seems like the obvious thing to do.
I think I would hold off on it, just because it's such a huge guy.
Yeah.
If I'm, let's say, if I was 28 in 93 and I'm watching, I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on with this guy? The only time I can see him is at WrestleMania 9. I might be intrigued to be like,
right,
all right, let me see what this guy can do.
Yeah, like, oh, he's going to finally have a match kind of thing. Okay.
Oh, man, this guy can't fucking wrestle. He can't do shit. Like, you're telling me? Against The Undertaker and all this happened? Like, oh, maybe I'll go check it out.
Yeah, I guess.
From an entertainment perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think, if a wrestling fan I mean right now.
Right.
Back then. I'm probably aware. I'd be like, okay, this is going to suck.
Right.
But, like, what can he do?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested to see that. I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
And in the way that the feud's been presented, I would want to see The Undertaker get revenge, I guess.
Yeah, for making him look like he did at the Royal Rumble.
Yep. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, Whippleman recalls what happened to The Undertaker there when The Undertaker decided not to back down. Because he didn't. He went right after Gonzalez and paid dearly for doing so. Mm-hmm. Heenan says he heard that The Undertaker has promised to put Gonzalez in the biggest coffin created. Whippleman simply dismisses that and suggests that Taker find a coffin big enough for himself and Paul Bearer. Heenan wants to see Whippleman knock out Bearer, and Heenan asks Gonzalez what his plans are for The Undertaker, which Gonzalez then responds with he just has a giant surprise for The Undertaker. He doesn't tell any plans.
Yeah, I have to jump in here. Okay, so yeah, Bobby basically finishes up the segment by, again, asking Gonzalez himself what his plans are for The Undertaker. As Bobby brings the mic up to Gonzalez's mouth, somebody in the crowd screamed out, "Break his arm!" And funnily enough, Bobby reacts as if the Giant hurts him when he grabs the mic and speaks. So it's like, I don't know if Bobby heard somebody scream that, but like he was like, oh. It was like, oh, he almost broke my hand.
I think he would have sold it anyway.
But I thought that was funny. And yeah, basically all he says here is, Undertaker, I have a giant surprise for you. And the part that I hated the most about this is that he spoke pretty well English for a quote-unquote creature. Like, up until this point, most of the big, giant, bad guys don't really talk on the mic too much. Like, for example, Yokozuna. It's like, inaudible. You can't really understand, and if you do, it's foreign or whatever. I don't like that Giant Gonzalez has a kind of a Spanish accent and talks normal. I hate that.
Maybe there was like homeschoolers in the forest that he's from. Or cave.
Harvey's been giving him lessons in the back. Now listen here, Giant Gonzalez.
Gonzalez has had hook on phonics.
A is for apple.
Hook on phonics. Does wonders. That should be a commercial in this. Giant Gonzalez, look what it did for me.
God damn it, I hate this. Speaks in plain English.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
Ugh.
Yeah, you mean Yokozuna, by comparison, knows less English than Giant Gonzalez.
And not only that, so okay, let's peel into this a little bit. So the guy, like George, the guy who actually plays Giant Gonzalez, I believe is from Argentina.
Yes.
So like, if anything, you could
El Giante, right?
Yeah.
From,
So you could play into that. To whereas on the flip side, Yokozuna is Samoan and from Hawaii in real life?
I would, yeah.
Assumingly.
Yeah.
So like and Yokozuna's the one doing a foreign, like, in English accent type of deal.
Entertainment, man.
It's
characters.
Like, what? This dude is speaking plain English?
I know.
Why's he got Harvey Whippleman?
I know. I would assume like a translator or a talker, and then he just knows how to. He understands Heenan
better than like Yokozuna and stuff like that.
I think the Harvey might be just the Harvey Association.
It's the
just
imagery.
The visual of how tall he is and stuff.
But still, why do that? Why?
Although you could probably put Harvey with Typhoon, and Typhoon would still look like a monster.
Right.
Because Harvey's a tiny guy.
What is he? 5'5"?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Right. So I just feel like, because really here, Harvey cuts a pretty decent promo and kind of puts over the match pretty good and does his job, which is good. And then for Giant Gonzalez to talk English and, like you said, clearly understand what Bobby Heenan said to him, kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting him to actually speak.
I know.
Maybe I yell.
Something that isn't, I have a surprise for you, Undertaker.
Right.
Like, what? No. That's bullshit.
I think it takes away the mystique of the game.
Huge.
So coming out of that segment, we have a video promoting Hulk Hogan and his return to WrestleMania 9. And I'm pretty like, this is when he's on like a display, right? And they're spinning him around in the dark. So ridiculous. And then it's like, oh, by the way, Bret Hart will be defending against Yokozuna as well.
I noticed that too. It's like, okay, so you get the Hogan promo, how great he is. Accolades are made out of highlight clips. Hogan is then the light shines on him. He rips his shirt open. It's like, oh, at WrestleMania 9. And then it goes, oh yeah, by the way, Bret and Yoko, they have a match there. But Hogan.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
They're overshadowing that.
So bad.
Overshadowing the title match so bad at this point. It's really annoying.
I wouldn't even put the Yoko Bret thing in that package. So at least you're just hyping up the fact that Hogan's going to be there. Now you put it in at the end.
That makes it worse.
Oh my God, so much worse. Because that just shows you right there that the company's like, oh yeah, that's a match too. That's not really the main event, but we'll pretend it's the co-main event. We'll pretend.
I mean, why don't they just do that? They should do that for every match. Just focus on Hogan here, sure, whatever. And then later on be like, oh, crush and doink. But not mention like the world title. So focus on each match. That way it makes it more important for each match. You know?
I know.
Bob Backlund, Razor Ramon. They had no interaction and no reason to fight. But WrestleMania 9, it's going down.
Get ready. Are you hyped?
Yeah.
Because we are.
He's 43. Razor Ramon's like 30. Check it out.
And huge.
Yeah. Bob Backlund realistically has no chance in hell.
Right.
But here we go.
Might break his hip at WrestleMania 9. You won't know until you buy the pay-per-view.
That's right.
Here's the number.
Yeah. Coming out of that, speaking of Bob Backlund, he's in a match here against Papa Shango. Mm-hmm. A dream match for me. I wouldn't have to say.
Why does Bob Backlund have no entrance music?
I think it's the old school mentality. Because there was no music when he was around in his heyday.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's what the point is. He's a wrestler. He's not an entertainer. That's my interpretation. I don't know if that's exactly what it is.
Whatever, Bob.
You know what? Whatever yourself. Shango starts the match pretty early on here, showing off his power, shoving Backlund down, what have you. And then Backlund shows off his speed. Despite being 43 years old, his speed advantage by avoiding Shango or taking him down to the mat.
So this point, okay, and he's doing it again. We get more ridiculous offensive maneuvers from Backlund that I hate. It's the wrestling trips, him bopping around to make his opponent look like a fool. It's the same crap he's been doing. It just looks so hokey and bullshit filled. Because I don't know if it's... Because it's definitely Backlund putting together the matches, it seems like. Because he's doing it every time. And it's like the same way he's acting gets himself over more and gives his opponent... His opponent gets nothing. And I feel like that's common with Backlund matches that we've seen. Just the way it looks so phony. Like, it's so phony. For a guy who prides himself on wrestling, his offense looks so see-through and phony.
So you can't suspend your disbelief with that.
With Backlund, not at all. Not at all.
I can see how that, especially in this era, with the guys there.
Yeah.
Shango has the first impactful move of the match with a backbreaker. And they go to the floor where he drives Backlund into the apron back first, pretty much keeping it simple there. And at this point, Gorilla Monsoon seems very agitated with Bartlett in his impersonation. He's like, I'm going to deck you.
That seemed like a shoot.
It really did.
Because at one point in this match, so Vince is like, basically, fake Vince is having basically an aneurysm, it sounds like. And Gorilla just goes, stop! Like he yells it. And then Bobby chimes in. He goes, Gorilla, didn't you make him an appointment for on Thursday? To which Gorilla says, absolutely. And then Bobby asks, well, you know, who'd you make the appointment with? And Gorilla goes, Dr. Kevorkian. Only one visit will be sufficient. So basically, he's saying he wants to kill this fucking guy.
Yeah.
And I believe him, because there's a couple times where Gorilla outbursts, and it's like, oh, Gorilla, whoa.
Well, I think at this point, it's noticeable that Bartlett kind of tones it down.
Yeah.
Like, he's not as vocal there, so I think he kind of got the message.
As soon as Gorilla snaps.
Yeah. Monsoon, they must have gotten Bartlett's ear at the Gorilla position. Like,
calm
dude,
down.
You're
pissing him off.
He's going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So I had a little outburst there. Shango maintains control with a backbreaker. And just continues with basic offense like a scoop slam and various knee lifts. And then Backlund comes out of nowhere and steals the match with an inside cradle to get the win. I believe maybe like a counter on another slam or just picking him up or something.
Yeah.
I did not like this match.
Boring.
And it kills me because I'm a huge Shango guy.
I know.
I think Backlund really weighs down the action here.
The offense is just so basic, so old. Yeah. Boring match. Boring.
Yeah, and I think my love here for Backlund is dying. I think it's pretty much dead, and it's amazing to me, from just my perspective here, of how his showing was at the Royal Rumble, and how I was like, you know what, wow, this guy's really doing great, and then every match so far is just down. This is not the type of wrestling I want to be watching. So,
well, I thought I was going to be 43 years old before you admitted to Bob Backlund being shit at this point.
I'm going to be 43 years old before you say, hey, Tatanka's pretty fucking great.
You be in that same coffin with Paul Bearer and Undertaker, according to Giant Gonzalez.
What the fuck, man?
Before that happens.
How about Luger, Crush? I got John Money Incorporated.
You did. I definitely have a better respect for them now that we've been watching through this stuff than I did. But as far as the other guys, keep dreaming. Not going to happen.
The dream will stay alive. That's for sure. All right, so from there we go to the WrestleMania 9 report with Mean Gene, and it's brought to you by ICOPRO. They actually show containers of it and stuff like that, really kind of selling it home there.
Actually, I don't know if this is true or not, but historically I've heard that ICOPRO gave most people who took it horrendous diarrhea. Like that was one of the side effects for ICOPRO if you took it.
Was it?
It's from what I've heard. Which is funny because hopefully people don't have that same response to ICOPOD. Hopefully you're not on the crapper.
Could you imagine?
This.
Dude, I love your podcast. I'm always taking a shit.
Yeah, it gives me the shits, man. I love it, but it gives me the shits. So that's funny that they're showing, like you said, they're showing the bottles and kind of showing it way more than they have as of late. And I'm pretty sure that I've either heard somewhere or heard somebody talking about it, but that was one of the common side effects was stomach pain and diarrhea, bad diarrhea. So there's that.
I was not aware that ICOPRO had that type of impact on people's bodies. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So the report here focuses on the Superstars segment involving Yokozuna and Ray Rougeau and the mention there, Bret Hart and whatever else. And then we go right into more promotion for the tag team titles. And Gene makes sure to note that it's the other half of the double main event. So trying to put focus back on the world titles, I guess, being the main draw. And we have pre-taped comments from the WWF Tag Team Champions Money Incorporated. And they are calling the Mega Maniacs the Mega Idiots.
Hold on. Mega Morons.
Was it morons or idiots?
I think it's Mega Morons. I think that's what IRS says.
Oh, I have idiots. You might be right with morons. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, either way, it's either Mega Idiots or Mega Morons, showing how we're both either paying attention poorly or I'm not paying attention. One of us is not paying attention correctly. It's probably me. And they think they found a way for the Mega Maniacs to think they have found a way that they're idiots or morons. DiBiase does a similar snake eye comment, similar to Shawn Michaels had done.
He ripped it off of Shawn.
Same writer, man. Must have been.
Oh, my God.
IRS says they'll have a special briefcase for Beefcake that can pierce armor. And he has that evil look of like, yeah, man, your face is going to be fucked.
Oh, God. I loved it. Jumping back to the Yokozuna thing really quick, the recap from WWF Superstars. The thing I noted here is, so that when he hits the bonsai drop, it's got to be one of the most devastating ones we've seen. Because as soon as Yoko lands, he like bounces after he lands. Like that's how hard he hit the guy in the chest. So I know we were talking about it before, but I had to not skip over that because it looked fucking devastating. That guy had to be hurt.
I believe by all accounts that Yoko's never hurt anybody with that.
It looked horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Just imagine that happened to Brett.
Yeah. If it happens to Brett, buddy, he ain't the champ no more.
It's over.
That's right.
We also hear from Paul Bearer and The Undertaker as they share comments about Giant Gonzalez and how Gonzalez won't have to look very far to find The Undertaker. Taker says he stands in Gonzalez's nightmares and says that Gonzalez's nightmares will soon become a reality.
Mm-hmm. Lame.
Yeah, just pretty basic shit.
Horrible.
There. Gene mentions, in passing, essentially, that Mr. Perfect will be taking on Lex Luger, despite being no build for it.
Yeah, we get a brush over. There's no promo. There's no nothing. And if any feud needs it, it's this one. Talking about not building up a feud.
This was mentioned at one point before Hogan came in as being one of the main events.
Like the most anticipated. One of the most anticipated. I think Vince says it.
Yeah.
One of the most anticipated matchups. It's like, well, really? Because it doesn't seem like that with the writers. Seems like the writers don't give a shit about that. Which sucks.
I don't even understand why they don't even address each other at all.
Nothing.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, we get nothing.
Coming out of the report, I believe there's like interaction between the commentators. I didn't note it because it didn't really matter to me.
Yeah, Bobby's bitching about how he's not going to be wearing a toga at WrestleMania. I'm not wearing a toga.
I didn't even mention that because he did say that it's going to be the biggest toga party.
Yeah, well, and then Gorilla goes, oh, yeah, you are. You're wearing a toga. So it's like they're just going back and forth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So coming out of that, we got an ad for WWF Mania with Todd Bettengill, the same brush your teeth first nonsense.
He's such a nerd.
He really is.
He is such a nerd.
He's not a wrestling guy, though.
He's like Michael Cole before Michael Cole nerd. To me, that's what it reminds me of.
And I think I like Bettengill better than I like Cole.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Nasty Boys come out for their main event match against the Headshrinkers, and before the match, they are, I believe, do they both kiss the same oversized ring girl?
Yeah, it's the same girl.
So that should be a fun time at the hotel.
It's going to be nasty, brother.
Oh, boy.
Pity City.
You want to find out why they call us the Nasty Boys? Oh, Look at what I do to Jerry. What?
It's going to get real nasty.
What the fuck is going on?
Oh, shit.
All right, yeah, take away with the main event there, Austin.
So, Headshrinkers come out next. No Afa. Very curious.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and Bobby even makes a comment about it. Like, oh, where's Afa? I saw him earlier today. Why isn't he out here? So that was weird. Going right into the match, Samu immediately begins whooping Knobs' ass, which I was like, thank God. Knobs does quickly get back into the match, leading some quick offense before tagging out to Sags. Both Headshrinkers came into the ring to work on Sags, but he came back as the ref was able to get one of them out, which was finally he was able to get order back to the match. The crowd was loving the Nasty Boys here. And they continued to make quick tags, working on Fatu's arms and legs. And, of course, cut to a mid-match commercial. Back from the commercial, Headshrinkers were working over Sags for a bit, getting shots in behind the ref's back, until Samu missed a headbutt from the top turnbuckle, allowing Knobs to get a hot tag and basically clean house. Heading into kind of the finish, all men ended up on the floor as Knobs and Fatu made their way over to like a gimmick concession table. It's like a pre-set up table of random foods.
It was a random area.
Yeah, there was like vegetables, bread. It was like, that's not a concession table.
There were like 100 hot dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like it's a hodgepodge of shit, basically. Yeah. And it turned into pretty much a food fight with all four men throwing the match out like the ref calls for the bell. And we get chairs, food, buckets, and mustard all around. One of the Headshrinkers had so much mustard on him that when he went to hit Knobs with a chair, they like reared back and accidentally bashed Sags with it. So he's like, wasn't even trying to hit him. So that was pretty funny because like the same Headshrinker tried to cover it up by like turning around and just hitting Sags again hard on the back with it. Like the same chair. It's like, oops, better cover this up. Let me hit you again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Samu that had all the mustard on him.
Oh my god, it was just so silly. And for a team that I know can have a decent match in the Headshrinkers, to stoop down to the Nasty Boy level and like do this bullshit for a finish, it's like that sucked. I didn't like it.
No, yeah, I didn't like the concession stand stuff, but I thought the action prior to that was okay.
You liked it?
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was, again, very basic, boring stuff.
Well, I mean, compared to what I had to sit through prior to that, it was okay.
Well, okay, fair enough.
But yeah, the concession stand stuff, I was not.
So silly. So silly.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like this is really serving a purpose.
No.
I mean, we know the Headshrinkers are facing the Steiner brothers.
Right.
Nasty Boys don't have anything going on.
Right. Which
kind of blows my mind, considering at the end of 92, they were, I would assume...
top team.
Yeah, tag title match, I would assume, but... It just seemed as if it was just there.
I feel like this match was here basically for the live crowd. To like get them to either laugh or be like, oh, that's cool. They went out in the ring and had a food fight.
Well, the whole episode just feels like a joke.
Yeah.
You know, with what Bartlett's doing. You didn't even know it was Bartlett, but you know what he was doing.
Well, thanks for rubbing it in.
That's still, I think that's really funny.
It blows my mind, dude. I think you're making that up.
No, it's definitely rubbed up. Okay, so from there... we go to a video promoting Vince's charity work. And I thought it was ironic that right before the video starts, Sags just drills Samu with a chair.
Yeah.
Like right in the head with it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We do great things for the community, but before that, here's Samu destroying one of the wrestlers.
Yeah, with a fucking steel chair. Yeah.
It's literally just a way to put over the various WWF superstars and Vince for what they do in the communities and stuff like that. Knobs says during the segment here at the video, Knobs goes, if you smoke, you're really uncool and a jerk.
Okay, so this whole thing, right? Every time they have like an audio bite of the wrestlers at a school or whatever talking about anti-drugs, almost every one of them was like a known either cocaine or pot or like a drug guy.
Well, the thing with Knobs, though, if it's coke, you don't necessarily have to smoke it.
Well, whatever. Anti-drug messages.
He wasn't saying. He was just saying smoking.
Whatever.
So if it's okay to do coke, but if you smoke tobacco...
don't smoke a cigarette. You're a jerk if you do.
You're really uncool. And Tatanka, I remember, I don't have it written down, but he was at a podium.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drugs are really uncool, you know, you want to stay out of them. Okay, next question.
Right.
It's like,
it was fucking horrible. Yeah. And then it all leads up to, like you said, it's a static picture of Vince, I think. And it's basically makes him look like this kind-hearted... It's such a publicity ploy here with this video. It's so bad, so cringeworthy. If I'm the WWF, I just ignore all that. Ignore the media. Don't play into it, because at the end of the day, I feel like it makes you look worse. Like you're pandering. We're good guys. You know, don't listen to them.
Say good things about us.
We visit schools. tell the kids not to do drugs.
Right.
Even though Hulk Hogan just admitted to doing steroids.
Yeah, don't do drugs when you're 8, but when you come work for us when you're 28,
Take your vitamins, brother.
We'll put a needle in your ass, and
Yeah.
it'll be great. You'll make a couple of $100,000.
Right, you look like a balloon animal for the WWF.
That's the message.
Right.
And then like the picture though they use for McMahon, he's awkwardly turning his head, and he has a weird smile smirk on his face, like, oh, yeah, man, this is great.
Yeah, don't listen to any of this. This isn't
Yeah.
really us. Yeah, it's just horrible.
The amount of money he's made off of various illegal drug usage, I don't know
Oh,
why
I know.
he would want them
I
not
know.
to use it. But
Right.
So I think they run down what's going on next week, basic things like that. Do you have it written down what they said?
I do. Yeah. That corny little video we got closes the show basically. Like that's their end game right there, which I was like, holy shit. But yeah, going into that, Gorilla announces that we're back in the Manhattan Center next week, where Money Inc. will be there. Kamala takes on Doink. Tatanka versus Repo Man, and the Bushwhackers will be in action.
Fuck my life. I like Tatanka. Okay, whatever. Bushwhackers, I fucking hate them. And then Doink and Kamala, are you kidding me? That's going to be a train wreck.
So that's why I want to see it. Because it's going to be a train wreck. Although I find it funny that, again, they announced the Bushwhackers in action. And I hope what happens last time happens again, where they're not in action.
It should be a running gag.
I know.
I would have done it for 25 years.
It's like, oh, don't miss next week. Bushwhackers are in action.
We've been saying it for 25 years, but I promise you.
And then they just never show up.
Luke and Butch will be here to fight the revival. I swear to God. And then the next week, no.
Nope. Nothing.
Oh,
no
shit.
mention.
Yeah.
And by the way, we still have not seen the conclusion of Skinner versus The Undertaker. I think he pinned him.
Skinner?
Yeah, he got a pin victory over The Undertaker.
If you were at the Manhattan Center on that day, what was it, like February 1st or something?
Yeah, I think so.
And you know if Skinner beat The Undertaker, let us know. If he did not beat him, don't let us know, because we want to believe that Skinner just shoot pin taker.
I think Skinner tapped out The Undertaker. Clean.
Here's a knee bar
Clean in the ring.
middle.
And that's why they don't show it.
That was Vince's plan. Skinner, this is going to be your huge push. We ran out of
scrap
time.
that.
Scrap it.
Yeah,
It didn't connect.
No, don't pretend. Yeah, pretend
is a
that didn't
sign.
happen. I'm telling you. Send us that video. We want to see it.
That's got to be on, we actually be on a DVD release.
Yeah.
Unseen matches.
The
15-minute classic.
Yeah, the last fucking 3 minutes of Skinner versus The Undertaker. We need to see that.
Can you just, the commentary team, Skinner did it!
He's tapping! The Undertaker's tapping
It's
out!
going to be Skinner and Taker at WrestleMania 9.
Hey, we probably would have got a better match out of it, to be honest with
probably,
you.
yeah. This week, though,
Rough.
I mean, it's like a filler. Nothing really happens.
Rough.
All I got out of it was Ramon needs to be a good guy. And I'm really glad that this is over. Skippable week for sure.
Yeah. I thought that all the wrestling was terribly boring, like very boring. Barely any of the angles heading into WrestleMania were played into. I mean, we got some Giant Gonzalez stuff and some like bare minimum. So I really thought that was stupid, especially with only a couple weeks left before WrestleMania. You pretty much wasted an episode of Raw. And everything just seems so cobbled together, like a backup episode, kind of like I said in the beginning. It seems like it didn't really play into anything. So there's really no reason that I can think of to go out of your way to watch this one. And I usually try to find at least one thing, like, oh, that was good. Not here. Pretty much skippable, especially with the fake Vince the whole night, just making it even worse. Just, oh my God. This episode, Bob, was a chore.
It's easily the worst episode of Raw.
So far. Absolutely.
So I would want to apologize for everybody that listened to this. Because it is bad. It is a bad wrestling show.
Well, we made a good episode out of a bad episode. So props to us.
It's probably the worst episode of ICOPOD.
Yeah, this is going to kill it right here.
It's
This
over.
will be done. Yeah.
Bad times.
Rough. Very rough episode here.
I'm like mentally drained just thinking about like when I was watching the show.
Well, is it bad that I was kind of multitasking while I was watching? Like, that's how little interest I had
I
in this
always
episode?
multitask, but this one, like during the Shango Backlund match, I had to rewind it because I probably just missed 2 minutes because I have no idea what happened.
See, and usually I don't. Usually it's me with my computer. I sit down and I watch it. This episode, man, I just couldn't do it. Not a good episode.
I think this is like I don't want to say the rock bottom because Raw hasn't been bad.
No,
for the most part, it hasn't been bad.
Not too bad.
So I think this rough patch is, I want to say, maybe like the only one. And
God,
once we get through it, it's pretty good, I think, for most of the year.
Well, okay, so let me kind of put this in perspective for you.
Okay.
Before watching any of 93, because again, I've seen bare minimum of 93 as far as like Raws go. Mm-hmm. When I thought of 93, episodes like this is what I thought it was. Just very like boring wrestling, not much going on, silliness in the ring. This is what I pictured 93 to be for the most part of Raw. And it really hasn't been. That's like not a good portrayal. Not an accurate representation of Raw. So that's why I would suggest if you're going through 93, just skip over this match. The matches and this episode. Because you don't want to taint kind of your view on 93. And I feel like if it were for me, not knowing anything else, and I just picked a random Raw to watch, and it was this one, it would have ruined it. I would have never watched any of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be inclined to watch anything else.
No.
I think that's a fair point. You got anything else for this episode?
Let's put this one in that giant coffin that Giant Gonzalez was talking about.
Yeah, and just bury it forever and ever. So if you have any thoughts on the episode, maybe you loved it. Maybe you thought, hey, Bob Backlund's amazing. Whichever, you can share it on our ICOPOD podcast page.
You know what? No, if you just unlike our page, stop listening. Like, if you love this episode, fuck you.
I really like mustard on Samu's face.
Oh, my God.
I'm just trying to see what the viewer would think.
I guess. I can't connect with you if you loved this episode of Raw. We don't get along.
Thanks a lot. Way to market there. So you can leave a comment on the post that will be on the ICOPOD Facebook page, or you can send us an email and we'll discuss it on the air. Maybe you're really passionate about it. ICOPodcast@gmail.com. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Conley Jr., and you've been listening to ICOPOD.
You gotta hear it.